Okay, in 4.9b, we're going to be graphing a system of quadratic inequalities. I did lose my voice, so bear with me. So when we see system of inequalities, we know we're going to have more than one inequality, and we're also going to shade the overlapping region. So going back to when we were graphing, if we have a less than or greater than sign, we are going to have a dashed line or parabola. And if we have a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, we're going to have a solid line or parabola. So when it comes to deciding where we're going to shade for a line, just like before, we use a test point to decide which side to shade. But for a parabola, if we have less than or less than or equal to, we're going to shade below the vertex. And if we have a greater than or greater than or equal to, we're going to shade above the vertex. So we have one example, so let's work through this together. So here's our system of inequalities. The first one, y is less than negative x squared minus 2x plus 4. Well, we have an x squared, so we know it's going to be a parabola. And the first thing we can see, since it's less than, it is going to be dashed. So off to the side, since this is a parabola, and since this is less than, looking back, if it's less than, we're going to shade below the vertex. So we know we're going to shade below the vertex. So the first thing we have to find is the vertex. So to find the vertex of a parabola, we have to do the opposite of b over 2a, and then once you have the x, you're going to sub it in to get y. So let's find our x term first. Looking at our equation, your b is the number in front of the x. So our b is negative 2. But we want the opposite of b. So we're going to have positive 2 over 2a. So 2 times our a, in our case, is negative 1. So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. So now we have to plug it in to find y. So go back up here, and when we plug it in, we have y equals, we have negative, our x is negative 1, so we have negative 1 squared, minus 2 times your x, which is negative 1, plus 4. So if we work this out, negative 1 squared is a positive 1, but we still have the negative out in front. So we have negative 1 minus 2 times negative 1 plus 4. So negative 1, negative 2 times negative 1 is going to be a positive 2 plus 4. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1, plus 4 is 5. So our vertex is at negative 1, 5. Alright. So normally, with our parabolas, we go over 1, up 1. Sorry. But since our a is negative 1, we know we're going to reflect over the x. So instead of going up, we're going to go down. So instead of going over 1, up 1, we're going over 1, down 1. Instead of going over 2, up 4, we're going over 2, down 4. And over 3, instead of going up 9, we're going down 9. So we can go ahead and plot our parabola. We have a vertex at negative 1, 5. So negative 1, up 5. And we're going over 1, down 1 on both sides. We're going over 2, down 4. And we're also going over 3, down 9. And do it on the other side as well. And we said it's going to be a dashed line, so make your parabola as best you can. Okay, so there's our parabola. So next, we have to decide where we're going to shade. So we said that since it's less than, we're going to shade below the vertex. So if this is our vertex, we're going to shade below. So I'm going to put a little arrow showing that we're going to shade below the vertex. Alright, so next we got to find our line. So, first thing, we have less than or equal to. So just looking at that, we know it's going to be a solid. And this is a line in standard form. So we have a line, and it is in standard form. When we have a line in standard form, that's when we use the cover-up method. So let's go ahead and do that. Cover-up method, to find your x, you have to plug, or you have to cover up the y. So we have 2x equals negative 10. And to solve for x, we're going to divide both sides by 2. So we get x equals negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So if our x is negative 5, we covered up our y, so that would be 0. So that's our first point. So we can go ahead and plot that. Negative 5, 0. Okay, so now let's find our y. So we have to cover up our x. So we have negative 5y equals negative 10. Divide both sides by negative 5. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is positive 2. So our point, since we covered up the x, our x would be 0, and our y would be 2. So we're going left and right 0, but we're going up 2. And we said it was going to be a solid line. So now we have to figure out where we're going to shade on that line. So let's pick a test point. And I'm going to choose our test point to be 0, 0 to make it easy. So we're going to test 0, 0. So going back to the original equation, we're going to plug in 0, 0. So we have 2 times our x, which is 0, minus 5 times y, which is 0, is less than or equal to negative 10. Well, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 5 times 0 is 0, so 0 times 0 is 0. Is 0 less than or equal to negative 10? No, that is false. So since it is false, we're going to shade away from the test point. So if our test point's down here, we're going to shade away. So if we're shading above our line, but below the vertex, your overlapping region would be this area.